Look what I got in the mail today. The PC Engine core-grafx 16 Anthology. Cool! Guys, this is so awesome. This is the Gunhed edition of the PC Engine core-grafx 16 PCFX Anthology. And I've been waiting for quite some time to get this book. It's by Geeksline Publishing, and they are a UK company, I believe, and they're publishing. It seems like they shipped everything out from Michigan. So yeah, pretty cool. So here is the book itself. Now, I haven't opened this yet, so this is going to be a totally like balls to the walls kind of review. So let's open it up and let's see what's inside, shall we? Cool, look at that. So the Gunhed edition includes additional pages of PC Engine geekery. So let's take a look. I'm going to go through page by page. You're going to see everything that's in here. Yes, cool. Now, I love the PC Engine. I have a PC Engine myself. I also have the PC Engine CD-ROM attachment. I also have 3 Turbo Duos I owned at one time, but now I just own the PC Engine with CD-ROM. I had several incarnations of the core-grafx 16 with and without the additional video module. And I've had the 5 controller thing. I've never had good luck with the 5 controller turbo tap. So yeah, unfortunately. So this here, the history of the PC Engine, pretty cool. And how NEC joined forces with Hudson Soft, so cool. And created something that caused fear in Nintendo's hearts. My God, now Nintendo was like the super giant of the video game world. And then suddenly they had this competitor. And you know what? This PC Engine system, arguably, it was as popular, if not more popular in Japan. Why? Because of the slew of games that it had that the Nintendo systems could not do properly. What do I mean by that? Shoot 'em ups. Yes. Now, platformers, Nintendo has everything beat. But for shoot 'em ups, there is not an equal system out there. Maybe you can argue that the Sega Genesis had some really cool shoot 'em ups, and that is true. However, the core-grafx 16, with its wonderful color palette, the games were just so much more vibrant on a core-grafx 16 or a PC Engine, without a doubt. Yeah, and there were so many great games like R-Type on it. Oh my gosh, yeah. You can even say Airzonk was a good game. Yeah, and there are some weird games too, like Chooseki, the one with the naked guys. Yeah, the naked muscle dudes. Yes, pretty cool. Now, I don't know, maybe many of you don't know this. Oh, R-Type versus Keith Courage. Many of you might not know this, but long ago, I produced a review list. It was called the Turbo Kid Review List, and this was back in the early 90s. So I've been around the PC Engine core-grafx 16 community for quite a long time, since 1989 onward. And yeah, I just decided one day to just write down all of my reviews and review all these games. And I even solicited reviews from reviewers who are just as geeky like me. And yeah, we created this huge list. I think there were over 100 games on this list. And you can scour the internet and look for the Turbo Kid review list. And that is me, folks. So yeah, that was me in another lifetime. So yeah, here is the system that I have. This is the Super CD-ROM 2 with the core-grafx 2. And what I had done to it, there's a little conversion switch on it so that I can play both American as well as Japanese games. So that's how my system is distinguished from your average CD-ROM with core-grafx 2 system. So let's turn the page, and then, yeah, I had 3 of these babies. This was so cool. The only problem was the CD-ROM drive was very flaky, so it was very fragile, is the best way to put it. So you have to be very careful loading and unloading your CDs. Airzonk, arguably one of my favorite games. Gate of Thunder, super cool too, but I really like the cartoon graphics in Airzonk. I think that kind of cartooning resonates with me. So yeah, they're all of these great systems. I even had Street Fighter 2 on a Hue card, so cool. It was definitely so much cooler to play Street Fighter 2 on a core-grafx, well, PC Engine Duo system than on any other platform out there. So yeah, unfortunately the Super FX system, the PCFX, didn't quite catch on very well, and that's a shame. And they had some weird ads. I mean, there's some crazy, strange ads. But then again, long time ago, everyone had weird ads. So you'll have to kind of like excuse, the NEC for providing these weird ads, because it was a time where everybody was producing really weird ads, especially Nintendo. Sega was okay. Sega was like trying to gear itself towards the American market, and I think they did that successfully. And that's why Sonic the Hedgehog is a household name with everyone right now. And unfortunately, Air Zonk is not. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So this is like, if you are a PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16 freak like I am, then you will enjoy this entire book. And so far it looks like it's got little pictures and reviews of all of the games. There it is, Choaniki. There we go, the Naked Guys game. It's a great shoot 'em up. I love it. Yeah, Aeroblasters, another shoot 'em up. Whoa. And a lot of people talk about this. This game is really expensive on eBay. It is. It is so expensive. This is basically a version of Castlevania, and yeah, everybody talks about this game as being the best version of Castlevania on any game system out there, at least at the time. So yeah, maybe there are better ones now on the current systems, but back then, this was the bomb, yeah. So even a pinball game, Alien Crush. I have that, as well as the second version of that game. And yeah, so cool. And you'll see there are a lot of adventure games on here too. Unfortunately, I don't read and speak Japanese, so I really can't enjoy games like that as much. But you know what? That's cool. For those of you who do read Japanese, you've got a whole world of awesome games on the PC Engine that you won't find anywhere else. There were so many people developing on this system, so many companies developing on the system. We in the US did not get most of the games. If you want to get super awesome games back then, and even now, you had to basically go to Japan. You basically had to do mail order Japan and pay these exorbitant shipping costs to bring a popular game over to the States. So what do I mean by that? Well, there was a game called Pumping World or Super Buster Brothers, and that was one of my favorite games ever. It's where you're a little boy and you shoot at these big bubbles that bounce overhead. And when you hit a bubble, it splits into two bubbles, and so on. So it sounds like it could be a goofy, corny game, but it was really fun. And I played it in the arcade, and then when I played it on the TurboGrafx Duo, it was like, whoa, this is the best game system ever. And I played the game on other game systems like the Genesis, and it just wasn't the same. It just didn't have the vibrant color graphics that the TurboGrafx 16 was capable of producing. So cool. This book here is a paradise of reviews. Look at this. You get every single game that's been known to be in the PC Engine library is here in these pages here. So cool. Kadash, a wonderful platform adventure game. I really, really like it. Yes, and there are a lot of weird games too that you've never heard of and I've never heard of, and that's okay. They have their fans, so you can't really poke fun of any of these games because, you know what? All of them are collector's items. If you were to go on eBay at this moment and type up the name of any one of these games, like Koryun, for example, you will see that these games fetch a lot of money. Now, long ago, not so long ago, maybe 5 years ago, I went to a local store, a video game store that sold antique video games, and they were selling these games for $10, $15, $20 each. And then I went back there recently, and suddenly I see these same games selling for $100 each. It's crazy. That's how much value these games have gone up. In just 5 years, it's turned into something of a craze to try to collect all of these antique, ancient games and play them on the ancient hardware successfully. Yeah, pretty cool. So yes, you can get a TurboGrafx 16 Mini, you can get a PC Engine Mini, and it will be fun, and you'll have lots and lots of fun on it. The only problem is you are only getting a very small subset of the actual library of games out there. You'll get some of the more popular ones. You won't get all of them, of course, because there are only 50-something games on each of these systems. And believe it or not, for a mini system, that's quite a bit of games. And they're all quality games too. So check it out. The TurboGrafx 16 Mini or the PC Engine Mini, super cool. They also have one in for the English market as well. I think it's the core-grafx Mini, something like that. So yeah, so take a look. Oh my gosh. I think they're giving full-page reviews to some of the more popular games. Yeah, like Darius Plus. Do you remember this in the arcade, folks? This was a game in which you fought these huge, gigantic monsters with your horizontal scrolling shooter. It's pretty cool. So there's a little bit like, do you remember a game called Scramble from long ago? Yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah, pretty cool. Devil Crush. This is the second, the follow-up to Alien Crush. Pretty cool. So we continue on. So many games. We're only on D. Oh my gosh. Cool. And I promised you I'm going to go through every single page. And yeah, it's so cool. This is impressing me more by the minute. Final Soldier, very popular shoot 'em up. I love that shooter. Some of these shooters I love playing, but they're so frustrating. I can't get beyond a certain level sometimes. And then it's like after just putting the game down and coming back to it, suddenly I have like refreshed, renewed eyes, and then I can like go past those levels. Pretty cool. So the fun is always there. Galaga 88. I wish they devoted a whole page to Galaga 88, because I cannot tell you how many games I've played of Galaga 88. It is one of my favorite games on the PC Engine, the core-grafx 16. It is so good. In the American market, it's called Galaga 90. In Japan, it's called Galaga 88. They're the same game. So yeah, pretty cool. Gate of Thunder. Everyone talks about this game as being the selling point of the Turbo Duo. When the Turbo Duo first came out, people were wondering about it. They were like, oh, I don't want to pay $300 for that, or was it $250 at the time? Something like that. And they were wondering what made the Turbo Duo better than the Sega Genesis, let's say. Well, the Sega Genesis was mostly a cartridge system, and you could buy a CD-ROM system for it. However, the Turbo Duo integrated the game system and the CD-ROM drive in it together, and it was so cool. So they offered this, they had provided a CD that had Gate of Thunder in it, as well as Bonk's Adventure and some other game in there, and it was like so cool. Like, this was hours and hours of fun for the people who loved shoot 'em ups. A lot of parallax scrolling here before anyone really cared for what parallax scrolling was. Pretty cool. And there's so many good games. There are many bad games too. So with this massive game library, there is going to be a lot of stinkers as well as some really good games. So yeah, not every game is totally fantastic, but I think that there are going to be fans of every single game out there, no matter how bad it is. So yeah, Radius, totally fun game. Different power-ups, things like that in there. Gunhed, another great shooter. Whoa. And yeah, if I don't own these games right now, at one time I did own them. And it's such a shame, because like I have sold and repurchased my core-grafx 16 PC Engine libraries several times over the 50 plus years that I've lived. And it's like, you know, that was always the biggest regret whenever I'd sell my system and sell all the games. And then I would just buy them again. And back before the vintage game craze became a thing, it was like cheap and easy to just rebuy your system. You can like wait 10 years and you can buy the system for the same or less than what you sold the stuff for. And now everything's just fetching like astronomical money. Like some of these games go for $1,000 each. Oh my gosh, I think Castlevania is one that's very expensive, or that might be going for $1,000. And then there's games like, I think Spriggan, goes for at least $100-something, and there's another one that's like Spriggan. It begins with an S, and that was fetching over $400 on eBay. Pretty cool. So these games, any vintage games, are going to command a good amount of money. Yeah. So a lot of people don't like this game, the Kung Fu. It's because it came with the PC Engine system, but the good things about this game are the fact that look how big these sprites are. These are huge characters. This was like not a thing for Sega Genesis systems. Sega Genesis systems, the game characters were these little tiny characters. Like Sonic was very colorful and very nice, but the character was really tiny. Look how big these characters are. Huge characters, fully detailed. Whoa, that's pretty cool. And that was like a unique thing back then, back in a time in which characters were little tiny small things on the screen. And then we had like full adventure games on CD with extraordinary graphics. At the time they were extraordinary. So really cool. And it's not that bad by today's standards. It's a little dated, of course, but for stuff that was like, look, it was produced in 1992. This is really not that bad for today's market even. I mean, it's pretty cool. So Loom was an underrated game. some of you who are not quite into adventure games may not be into Loom. Magical Chase, one of my all-time favorite shooters with the cute cartoon graphics. It not quite as good as Airzonkh in terms of cartoon quality, but it's got a lot of like jovial, fun stuff in it, and I like that about these bosses. These boss characters were really cool inside that game, Magical Chase. So let's continue on. Whoa, lots of weird stuff I've never heard of before. Whoa, look at that. Monster Lair, another platformer. And we continue. We're only up to end. Oh, Nectarus. Nectarus, such a fun game. So this game was called Military Madness in the States. And this was a turn-based game. At a time in which people didn't know what the hell a turn-based game was, this was one of the first on a popular gaming console. And basically, you make your move all of your tanks and aircraft and other weapons, and then the enemy moves. And it's a strategy game, and you take turns, and you keep fighting this way until somebody loses. And there's a little bit of randomness involved, but with strategy, you can actually get through all of the levels, and I almost got to the very end. I didn't have enough patience to get to the end, but this is a really fun game and one of the best games on this system. They have produced this on other systems. They have produced games that are like this on other systems, but nothing could ever compare to Nectarus Military Madness. So yes, if you can find it and play it, that's so much the better. And then they had Neo Nectarus. So there we go. This is the CD-ROM version of this game. I think it may have been a follow-up, but when I played it, I was like, this is not as good as the first one. So, and then we had some ninja games on there, pretty cool. So yes, this was Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Ryunkenden in PC Engine lore. So Ninja Spirit, this was super popular. It is still the most awesome platformer, in my opinion, the most awesome platformer on the PC Engine. Look how large that boss is at the very end. That is a full screen boss, and I'm not going to say that everything moves on it, but it does move. The arms move, the legs move, there's the feeling of the thing moving back and forth, so they did really well with whatever limitations they had, and I will tell you that this system is really powerful. Compared to the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo and the regular Nintendo at the time, this was the king of all the systems based on power. It's just a shame that the American marketing team didn't advertise this, promote this as well as it did. So Outrun, this was a fun game. I would say that it is not the best version on the systems at the time. Parasol Stars, the story of Bubble Bobble. So yeah, if you like those kinds of games where you're jumping up and down between the different levels, and once you finish what's in one level, then you move into another territory, then this game is for you. So yeah, there's something for everybody in this system. Oh, this is PC Kid 2. This is Bonk's Adventure and Bonk's Revenge. So this is the TurboGrafx PC Engine's answer to Sonic. Now, arguably, this character never got to be as popular as Sonic. However, it's just as cute, and the gameplay itself, very challenging, and I feel that it is a worthy adversary to Sonic the Hedgehog. I think Sonic edges it out, though, because of its speed. The Sega Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog was always known for super fast games such as Sonic the Hedgehog. This one is more of a slower platformer. It's more like a Mario game. So yes. And then we had, PC Kid 3, which was Bonk 3. And that's, I think, one of them you get to be a super Bonk, where you get to be like a really large Bonk. There were a lot of sports games on here. Tennis, soccer. R-Type. Yes, everybody goes crazy over R-Type. And you know what? Arguably, the PC Engine version was better than any other system out at the time. The graphics were supremely sublime in this game. The only problem was there was the blinkies, so the sprite effects. And on occasion that would get a little much, but really, if you look at this game compared to others, this was a really, really awesome version of the game. So there were so many awesome games, so many excellent memories of this system. And you know what? They're not just memories anymore because I get to play them anytime I want. Shadow of the Beast, Shinobi, another ninja game. Sokoban, very fun. Soldier Blade, another shoot 'em up. Splatterhouse. This is their answer to people who want to play a game where they act as like a Jason type. and they get a chainsaw and they get to like fight these ghouls. So pretty cool. Spriggan Mark II. I think this was the game that's going for something like $400 on eBay. Street Fighter II Champion Edition. Look how excellent the graphics are. This is a game system that was out in the late 80s, early 90s. They developed this on a super duper large RAM card, and it just had wonderful, wonderful graphics in it. So good. Wonderful graphics, great sound. The gameplay was flawless. You have to try the game on this system. You just have to. You have to try it in the original form, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's so good. Strider. Super Raiden and Super Darius. Cool. So many shoot 'em up. Super Star Soldier, another excellent shooter. I love that game. So good, so good. So many good games. Turrican, where you're like a mech robot and you go, it's a platformer type game. So many cool games here. Winds of Thunder, that's the follow-up to Gates of Thunder. It wasn't as popular as Gates of Thunder, but it was still a pretty good game. Like, Gates of Thunder, that's a tough act to follow. Oh, I have to give special mention to Ys 1, 2, and 3, as you see here. Ys 4, not so much, but Ys 1, 2, and 3, so good. This is a platform adventure game. It's sort of like all of those Nintendo games out there where you just run from left to right. Sometimes you go through a top-down kind of thing, and you collect treasures, you battle monsters, you get to meet people, and you fight enemies until their death, until you get to the very end. And as you see here, there's a player and an enemy power gauge, and so you keep fighting these enemies until they die. So it's a lot of button mashing, and mindless button mashing. But if you enjoy that sort of thing, this is the game for you. This is definitely a stress relief type of game for me. I really enjoyed bashing all those monsters, and I got through Ys 1, 2, and 3 just by bashing, just by button mashing. So apparently I'm very good at button mashing. So, ooh, racing game from long ago, 1991. That looks pretty cool. Ooh, we got to the very end. So now there's the PCFX games. There aren't too many PCFX games compared to the PC Engine TurboGrafx 16, but there seems to be a fair number of them. I'm just talking about this right now, and it's like, I didn't know that there were all of these games. Zork even appeared on here. For those of you who don't know, I worked at Infocom. So Infocom was the authors of Zork, Zork Zero, Shogun, Journey. So I worked on all of those games. So I developed the back end engine to produce the graphics on screen for the Commodore Amiga. So yeah, so it would be able to display images like this. So previously, prior to all of that happening, Infocom was basically a text adventure game company, and so their claim to fame was to allow you to use your mind to develop the best graphics possible for a game. So they would give you nice descriptions of what was going on. You had to think about what was in your mind or what was going on, and then you type in your response to questions. So that worked out well for them for a long time until the market got kind of thin for games like that, and then suddenly they decided to go into the graphics market. So then they hired people like me to write back-end engine code for them. So yeah, pretty cool. So yes, I was involved in the video game industry back in the late 80s, and yeah, it was like I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world. It was pretty cool. So there's a lot of book left. We went through all the reviews. Take a look at how much book is left. What is in the rest of this book? I'm going to go through it, and we're going to find out. So this seems to be like a whole bunch of random stuff about like things for the PC Engine, for geeks, collector's corner. Then we're talking about the hardware itself, what's inside these systems. Oh, cool. This is about as geeky as you can get, right? Parallax scrolling, a description in full detail. Whoa, what's this? The base resolution of the PC Engine does not respect the screen display ratio. The image of games using this resolution is therefore slightly overwritten, which is not the case with a resolution of 320 by 224 pixels. Wow, super geek stuff. And like my 1989 version of myself really cared about stuff like this. But this is like a nice little curiosity kind of thing for me. CD-ROM and the interface unit. Yes, I remember there were different versions of the CD-ROM drive for the PC Engine, the core-grafx 16 Turbo Duo. I actually owned, prior to the Turbo Duo, I actually had a core-grafx 16 as well as the CD-ROM drive unit for it. And that was I have to say, that makes it into a big clunky device that isn't as streamlined as it could be. So on one hand, I enjoyed all the CD-ROM games. I loved all of them. On the other hand, it was a clunky device. So I also had this thing called the 3DO. So back then, that was like the super most awesome, powerful system out there. It had a CD-ROM drive on it. It was $699 for the thing. And yes, it was the only system at the time that could play CD games. This was before the Turbo Duo and stuff like that. And it was fun, yes. They just didn't have a very large game library for it. That was the shame of it, and then it died. So it was a shame. So this purports to describe all the different CD-ROM drive firmware systems out there. Cool. And the arcade card, which is basically like jacked up memory for your PC Engine or core-grafx 16. And there we go. With the additional memory, you can have these games that are called arcade CD-ROMs playing on your system. And so you can see what the difference is between the arcade ROM games versus the normal games. So the games are supposedly more colorful because they're using the entire color palette because you've got more memory to access this color palette. Pretty cool. So the sound. Oh, yes. Bar none, the sound effects on this, the music that can come out of a PC Engine and core-grafx 16 was revolutionary at the time. It beat the pants off of anything that came out at the time. So this system was so advanced. It is a shame that the most powerful system out of all the game systems did not win the game wars, the game console wars. So this is what clever marketing, i.e. Sega and Nintendo, can do against an actual superior opponent. So yeah, just because you have the best device doesn't mean that you're going to gain the most hearts, unfortunately. This is a section on laser active. I don't know much about the laser active system, but it looks like it could be cool. So, oh, there we go. Stuff with the media. Who is this guy? He must be a very important person in the PC Engine world. I never really delved into the background of some of the creators of these games. I did have a subscription to TurboPlay at one time. That was pretty cool. And sadly, I don't know what I did with those magazines. I think I must have thrown them out, unfortunately. They're worth a lot now. So here are all the different PC Engine and systems that came about. I keep forgetting, yeah. This book is really about PC Engine and not core-grafx 16, which is the American version of the PC Engine. But there are still like core-grafx 16 things in it. So again, this is the Gunhed edition. This includes additional pages, an additional section, but I don't know what that additional section is. So you'll see in the description on Geeksline Publishing, you'll see the Gunhed edition. You'll also see the regular edition. So the regular edition is a lot cheaper than the Gunhed edition, but this one has higher quality paper that it's printed on and more information. So pretty cool. Ooh, naked stuff. So this is, I guess this was popular amongst Japanese youths because they got to see a lot of naked things, naked people on here. Like, this kind of stuff never really interested me because, you know, I'm a girl. So it's like, oh, cool. Japanese sleeves hue cards. All the covers of these games. Very cool. Box art collection. Very cool. All the arcade games. I have almost all of them. It's pretty funny. I'm looking at all of this right now. I think I don't have the first two, but I have the rest of them. Pretty cool. So how did I reclaim all of my library? So I just decided one day to plunk down a lot of money and just purchase a massive library of games to go along with my PC Engine CD-ROM Switch thing, and yeah, I was able to just amass a huge library, nowhere near as big as the library I had before, but it has all the games that I really want. So I'm very happy with my library. So people have asked me if I want to sell any of these games, and I said, hell no. This is like, why would I want to sell this again? I'm at an age right now where it's like, it doesn't make sense for me to sell the system off again, sell all the games, and then maybe want to repurchase them at some point. So I don't want to do that again. I want to keep it forever. So back when I sold these systems, I didn't have a lot of money, and I was just looking to pay bills and such. But now that I have some money, then I could enjoy the system for what it is. And it is one of the best gaming systems out there, guys. One of the best vintage gaming systems out there. The collector's list. Why would anybody want to write in their book, right? It's like, whoa, I'll just photocopy this and check everything that I have. And so, yeah. Kickstarter backers. Oh, I should have been one of these. I didn't even know about this book until like several months after it was published. I would have paid them like whatever the top amount was for this. Oh, so cool. Yeah, so that's the Gunhed edition, guys, of the PC Engine TurboGrafx 16 PCFX Anthology. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel, and you'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.